Sean Diddy Combs or people affiliated with him did something to you that caused you to have multi-organ failure?
I believe this to be the case, yes. Absolutely.
Wow.
My first time saying it.
I'm like the proud mother. Yes, do you see my smile? Jeez.
What's the odds that you would do that in front of the camera? Like that's one of the moments where he forgot he was on tape.
This update hit like a storm. A lot of people were left uneasy when 50 Cent's documentary on Sean Diddy Combs completely skipped over one of the most sensitive and controversial parts of the entire story, the mysterious death of Kim Porter. That silence didn't feel accidental, it felt loud, and almost immediately the internet started buzzing with questions that refused to go away. Why avoid Kim? Why not even mention her? And who decided that her story wasn't worth touching? Now, things may be taking a sharp and unexpected turn. Word circulating behind the scenes is that Kim Porter's oldest son, Quincy Brown, could be working with 50 Cent on an entirely new documentary focused solely on Kim's life, her death, and everything surrounding it. That rumor alone sent shockwaves through fans and insiders because if it's true, this isn't just content. It's personal, and personal stories tend to hit much harder than outside investigations ever could. For months, people have been side-eyeing Quincy's silence, especially after he briefly showed up at Diddy's trial, stayed low, and disappeared just as quickly. Some interpreted that single appearance as loyalty, others thought it was obligation, but looking back now, that moment might have been strategic rather than emotional. What stood out most wasn't what Quincy did, but what he didn't do. He never defended Diddy publicly. He never attacked critics. He never tried to control the narrative online. While others around Diddy were scrambling to speak up, Quincy stayed quiet and let the noise pass. That quiet approach separates him from the rest. Unlike Christian and Justin Combs, who have both been named in lawsuits tied to Diddy's controversies, Quincy's name has never appeared in any accusations. Not once. No rumors, no filings, no whispers attached to his character. That clean record puts him in a completely different category and makes his potential involvement in a documentary even more significant. Insiders claim Quincy has been playing the long game the entire time, not reacting emotionally, not moving recklessly, just watching, observing, waiting. Some say he stayed close to Diddy longer than expected for one reason only: to protect his sister and keep an eye on what was happening behind closed doors. Whether that's true or not, what's clear is that Quincy didn't move loudly, and in situations like this, silence can be power. According to multiple sources, everything shifted once Diddy was taken into custody. That's when Quincy allegedly changed direction completely. The loyalty, if there ever was any, ended there. From that point on, the focus reportedly turned toward Kim Porter and the unanswered questions surrounding her death. Questions that have lingered for years, questions that people were afraid to ask when Diddy's power was at its peak. Now, Quincy is said to be digging into old rumors, overlooked details, and inconsistencies tied to Kim's passing. That alone is bold. But if 50 Cent is truly backing the project, the implications are massive. This wouldn't be a surface level tribute or a vague remembrance. It would be a deep dive, one that could bring uncomfortable truths back into the spotlight and force conversations many people worked hard to shut down. This potential documentary isn't just about revisiting the past, it's about control of the narrative. For years, Kim Porter's story has been treated like a footnote, despite how central she was to Diddy's life. If Quincy is ready to speak, or even just facilitate the truth being told, it could change everything. Not just public perception, but the legal and cultural conversation around what really happened. If this project actually moves forward, it won't just shake the internet, it could crack open a chapter that's been sealed shut for far too long. Industry insiders are already whispering that this film could shake Hollywood and the music world in ways nobody is prepared for. And the more you look at Quincy Brown's role in all of this, the more it starts to make sense. Quincy has always stood apart from Diddy's other sons. His energy, his posture, even the way he moves through the industry has always felt different. Yes, Diddy played a major role in raising him, but that contrast between Quincy and the rest of the Combs family has been obvious for years, and people have noticed. When Homeland Security raided Diddy's properties last year, chaos followed almost instantly. Christian and Justin Combs were reportedly present at the scene and were even seen being detained in handcuffs. Those images spread across the internet within minutes, fueling outrage and speculation. But what really caught people's attention wasn't who was there, it was who wasn't. Quincy was nowhere to be seen. The twins were missing too. That absence wasn't random, and it didn't go unnoticed. Social media lit up with the same question over and over again. Where was Quincy while everything was falling apart? To be clear, the rumors about Quincy being in witness protection don't really hold up. People saw him appear at Diddy's trial, sitting with the family in full view of cameras. That alone shut down that theory almost immediately. But new reports suggest something more calculated. That allegedly Quincy stayed close to Diddy for one reason and one reason only: to protect his sisters. Sources claim he was deeply concerned about their safety and determined to honor a promise he made to his mother, Kim Porter, to always look out for them no matter what. That context reframes everything. It explains why Quincy stayed quiet while others spoke recklessly, why he never gave interviews about Kim's death, why he never posted emotional tributes or accusations online, why he refused to engage in public narratives at all. According to insiders, that silence wasn't weakness, it was strategy. Quincy allegedly understood that making a move too early would put the people he loved at risk. So he waited, and now it looks like that waiting period may be over. Reports are circulating that Quincy is developing a full-length documentary focused entirely on Kim Porter's life, the unanswered questions surrounding her death, and the complicated, often tense history between her and Diddy. If true, this wouldn't be a casual project. And with 50 Cent rumored to be involved behind the scenes, the implications are massive. People close to the situation believe this film could finally surface details that have been whispered about for years but never fully examined in public. Because something about Kim Porter's death has never sat right with a lot of people. On November 15, 2018, Kim Porter was found unresponsive inside her Los Angeles home. A family member discovered her in bed, and by the time paramedics arrived, she had already passed. She was just 47 years old. The news shocked the world instantly. Later, the LA County medical examiner ruled her death as natural, citing lobar pneumonia as the official cause. On paper, it sounded straightforward, but when you start looking at the timeline, things begin to feel unsettling. Reports indicate Kim first complained of a sore throat around November 7th. Within days, by November 12th, she developed a fever that escalated rapidly. That sudden jump from mild symptoms to a fatal outcome raised eyebrows immediately. According to family statements, Kim tested negative for both the flu and strep throat. She was being treated with antibiotics, vitamins, and pain medication. By November 14th, relatives said she was actually improving. Her fever had broken. She was feeling well enough to have a massage that evening. That detail has always stood out. If Kim was still fighting pneumonia, why would an outside person be brought into the home? Even more troubling, the identity of the massage therapist has never been publicly disclosed. That missing piece continues to haunt the timeline and has fueled years of speculation about whether everything that night unfolded the way it was reported. The coroner's final report only deepened the mystery. It confirmed Kim had no history of drug or alcohol abuse and no underlying health conditions. She was described as healthy and active by those closest to her. That made her sudden passing even harder to reconcile with the official explanation. Not long after her death, the first person to publicly question the narrative was Kim's ex and Quincy's biological father, Al B. Schur. He stated that he had seen Kim shortly before she passed and that she showed no signs of serious illness. For years, he said he couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. In July 2020, Al shared an emotional video recorded on the morning he learned of Kim's death.
That hip-hop culture was on trial as much as Sean Combs was?
Look, if I didn't say anything, you would interpret it as the hip-hop is fine with his behavior.
Alongside it, he wrote that the loss ripped the soul from his physical body. He went further, saying he knew very clearly that Kim didn't simply pass away from pneumonia and called the explanation BS. Those words reignited public doubt almost instantly. He later added that Kim had been in excellent health while celebrating Quincy's new Netflix deal and Christmas special. He described her laughing, energetic, and vibrant. Nothing about her behavior matched the picture of someone days away from death. He ended the post with a striking hashtag that many interpreted as a direct message aimed at Diddy's public tributes. Not long after, Al deleted the post, later explaining that Quincy had asked him to because it was emotionally triggering. Still, he never retracted his beliefs. He made it clear he still didn't accept the official story. Then in November 2021, Al posted a throwback photo with Kim and Quincy paired with a chilling caption. He referenced a message Kim had once sent him saying, "Life imitating art, art imitating life. Now it all makes sense." He hinted that she had shared deeper details with him privately, including telling him she was running and that he advised her to contact the FBI. That statement stunned people. Just months after that post, Al B. Schur was rushed to the hospital for a sudden and unexplained medical emergency. He collapsed while working and reportedly developed multiple severe complications without warning. He spent nearly 2 months in a coma and later revealed he underwent an organ transplant, blood transfusions, intubation, and time on a ventilator. Doctors were reportedly baffled. That's when online speculation exploded. People began pointing out that several individuals connected, directly or indirectly, to Diddy's inner circle had reportedly died or fallen seriously ill from pneumonia-related conditions over the years. Names like Heavy D, Brittany Murphy, and Bobby Christina Brown resurfaced in discussions. Whether coincidence or not, the pattern unsettled a lot of people. And now with Quincy reportedly ready to tell his mother's story on his own terms, the silence around Kim Porter may finally be breaking. In fact, the similarities don't stop there. And this is where things start to feel less like coincidence and more like a pattern that no one ever wanted to touch. Bobby Christina Brown's autopsy listed lobar pneumonia as the official cause of death, the exact same condition cited in Kim Porter's case. On its own, that detail might not mean much. People get sick, tragedies happen. But when you start stacking timelines, circumstances, and relationships, that single overlap suddenly becomes impossible to ignore. Almost overnight, social media reignited with side-by-side breakdowns. Screenshots of autopsy summaries, old interviews resurfacing, archived tweets dug up from years ago. People weren't claiming proof, but they were asking questions that had never been answered. For many, it wasn't about conspiracy, it was about discomfort, about the feeling that too many stories ended the same way, too quietly, too cleanly, and too fast. What made it even more unsettling was what happened next. Even after coming dangerously close to losing his own life, Al B. Schur didn't retreat. He didn't suddenly soften his tone. He didn't walk anything back. If anything, he became more focused, more deliberate, and more resolved in the way he spoke. He stated repeatedly that he still believed none of this was random and that the truth surrounding Kim Porter's death had not yet come fully into the light. Many people expected him to disappear after his health crisis. That's usually how these stories end. Someone gets sick, someone nearly dies, the noise fades, then silence follows, but that never happened here. Instead, Al continued posting, carefully, thoughtfully, sometimes cryptically, sometimes emotionally. His words weren't reckless, but they were loaded. Reflections about timing, about truth, about how certain stories only make sense years later. And woven through all of it were subtle suggestions that Kim's passing and his own medical emergency might be connected by more than bad luck. As the pressure built, speculation intensified. Rumors began circulating that Diddy could somehow be connected not only to Kim Porter's death, but also to the sudden health collapse Al experienced after he began speaking publicly. These claims were controversial, polarizing, and deeply uncomfortable. They weren't easy to dismiss, but they weren't easy to accept either, and yet they refused to fade away. The louder people tried to shut the conversation down, the louder it seemed to echo. Then this year, everything escalated. Al was finally given a mainstream platform to speak directly to the public. Not through cryptic posts, not through secondhand quotes, but face-to-face on camera in his own words. He sat down with Fox 5 New York for an interview tied to his upcoming memoir, and during that conversation, there was a moment that changed everything. Al looked straight into the camera and asked a single question that landed like a punch to the chest. Do you believe me now? It wasn't rhetorical, it wasn't dramatic for effect, it was raw, direct, and deeply unsettling. In that same interview, Al made something very clear. He never believed Kim's death was natural, that not from day one. He didn't come to that conclusion years later. He didn't wake up one morning and change his mind. He said the official explanation never made sense to him, even at the beginning. Then he went even further. He stated that he is fully convinced his own medical crisis in 2022 was not accidental. According to Al, the timing was too precise to ignore. He claimed that shortly after he began publicly questioning Kim Porter's death, his life was suddenly put in danger. That assertion sent shockwaves across social media and reignited debates among fans, journalists, and industry insiders alike. Some dismissed it. Others listened more closely than they ever had before. Al emphasized that he does not believe pneumonia was the true cause of Kim Porter's death, and that critical details were either overlooked, ignored, or intentionally brushed aside. More importantly, he believes the truth will eventually surface now that his claims are officially documented through a major media outlet. That documentation alone gave his words a new level of legitimacy, no longer just whispers online, but statements preserved in public record. Meanwhile, the relationship between Al and his son, Quincy Brown, remains complex and largely private. Some sources suggest the two have been quietly working to rebuild their bond, while others say there is still unresolved tension beneath the surface. What remains unknown is whether Al will play a direct role in the documentary Quincy is rumored to be developing about Kim's life and death. Fans are hopeful, and for good reason. Al B. Sure was the very first prominent figure in the entertainment industry to publicly demand a deeper investigation into Kim Porter's passing long before it became a trending topic or a viral conversation. Back then, his words were easy to dismiss. Now they feel harder to ignore, with the spotlight brighter than ever. That demand is echoing louder. Al's voice carries real influence, and in this moment, that influence could be pivotal. Many believe Kim Porter deserves real answers and real accountability, especially when viewed through the lens of what has already been uncovered in other high-profile cases involving power, silence, and control in the music industry. Over the years, Diddy has built a reputation as someone who maintains strict control over those closest to him. Reports and past accounts describe a relationship between Kim and Diddy that was allegedly marked by intense oversight and emotional pressure, raising red flags long before other allegations ever surfaced publicly. That history has led many to question just how much power he truly wielded over the people in his inner circle, and what that power may have cost them. Now in 2026, this story has taken on an entirely new life. What began as whispers about Kim Porter's mysterious passing has evolved into one of the most serious and far-reaching scandals the entertainment world has ever faced. With Diddy now under multiple federal investigations, the attention on everyone connected to him, including Quincy Brown and Al B. Sure, has intensified dramatically. By late 2025, Homeland Security and the FBI confirmed ongoing investigations following coordinated raids on Diddy's Los Angeles and Miami properties. These operations were not symbolic. Federal agents seized electronic devices, encrypted hard drives, and extensive travel records as part of a multi-jurisdictional probe. Authorities have publicly stated that the investigation involves allegations of trafficking, coercion, and financial misconduct stretching back decades. Major outlets such as Rolling Stone, The Guardian, CNN, NBC News, and Fox 5 New York have continued uncovering patterns tied to individuals once closely associated with Diddy. And once again, Kim Porter's name has resurfaced repeatedly, not as an accusation but as a question, a turning point, a moment people feel was never properly examined. At the same time, 50 Cent has continued teasing additional documentary projects that promise to go even deeper. He's been vocal online, posting court developments, updates, and pointed commentary, suggesting that the truth always finds a way out. Industry insiders claim Quincy Brown has been quietly gathering stories from people who knew Kim best, determined to ensure her legacy is told with honesty and care. At the same time, 50 Cent has not slowed down at all. If anything, his presence in this entire situation has grown louder, sharper, and more deliberate. He hasn't just been teasing documentaries in a casual way, he's been signaling, almost daring people to pay attention. Through social media posts, cryptic captions, reposted court filings, and pointed commentary, 50 has made it clear that what the public has seen so far is only the surface layer. He's repeatedly hinted that entire pieces of the story were intentionally left out of earlier releases, not because they weren't important, but because touching them too early would have shut everything down completely. According to people close to the production side, 50 understands how the industry works better than most. He knows where the lines are, who controls distribution, and which names trigger immediate shutdowns. That's why his approach has been surgical. Rather than dumping everything at once, he's been peeling the story back in layers, allowing public pressure, lawsuits, and federal action to do part of the work for him. Each time a new development drops in the real world, his commentary suddenly makes more sense in hindsight. Insiders say that behind the scenes there has been a quiet reshuffling happening. Former associates, people who once stayed silent out of fear or loyalty, are allegedly beginning to talk. Not publicly, not on camera, but privately, slowly, carefully, the kind of conversations that don't make headlines right away, but eventually change the entire direction of a case. This is the stage where narratives start collapsing, not because of one explosive reveal, but because too many pieces stop lining up. At the same time, Quincy Brown is rumored to be operating in a completely different way. Unlike the loud chaos surrounding Diddy's legal troubles, Quincy's movements have been quiet, intentional, and extremely controlled. Sources claim he's been reaching out to people who knew Kim Porter before the fame, before the pressure, before everything became complicated. Old friends, family acquaintances, individuals who were around during key moments but never felt safe speaking publicly. What's important here is that Quincy isn't allegedly chasing scandal, he's chasing context. People say he's been focused on understanding who his mother really was during the years the public never saw, what she feared, what she confided, what she may have been trying to protect. That distinction matters because it suggests this isn't about revenge or headlines, but about legacy, about reclaiming a story that was never fully told. As federal investigations continue to accelerate, the atmosphere inside the industry has reportedly shifted in a noticeable way. People who once acted untouchable are suddenly lawyered up, long-standing partnerships are being quietly paused, old relationships are being reevaluated. The sense of invincibility that once surrounded certain figures is cracking, replaced by uncertainty and paranoia. Hollywood has seen scandals before, but this one feels different. This one isn't being driven by gossip blogs or viral clips alone. It's being driven by subpoenas, sealed documents, and people cooperating behind closed doors. The image that once protected Diddy, the mogul, the tastemaker, the gatekeeper, is eroding fast, and what's replacing it isn't just public criticism, but institutional scrutiny, the kind that doesn't care about influence, fame, or past favors. That shift alone has made people revisit old stories they once dismissed, including Kim Porter's. As more witnesses come forward and more information enters official channels, the silence surrounding Kim's death feels louder than ever. The gaps in the story are no longer being ignored, they're being examined, reread, recontextualized. Details that once seemed insignificant are now being questioned with fresh eyes. And for many watching this unfold, it feels like the moment when long buried truths finally begin to surface. This is why one question continues to dominate the conversation, refusing to fade no matter how much time passes. What really happened to Kim Porter, and how far does this go? As 2026 unfolds, developments backed by official records and verified reporting suggest this case is entering its most critical phase yet. Substantial digital evidence is now under federal review. Multiple former associates have reportedly cooperated with investigators, and the scope of what's being examined appears far wider than anyone initially expected. This is no longer a single storyline. It's a network of interconnected events, relationships, and decisions that span decades. The industry is bracing itself, not for one arrest, not for one documentary, but for a reckoning that could reshape how power, silence, and accountability are understood in entertainment. This conversation is no longer confined to rumors, speculation, or internet theories. It's being shaped by active investigations, documented testimony, and a public that is no longer satisfied with half answers. And now it comes back to you. After everything you heard about Kim Porter, Quincy Brown, Al B. Sure, and the expanding investigations surrounding Diddy, do you believe the truth is finally coming out? Or do you think there are still deeper layers being protected behind the scenes? Share your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay locked in as this story continues to unfold, because what comes next may change everything people thought they knew.